Show of hands.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are you speaking on the Florida Oakland?
I'm not going to be speaking on that particular. I'm just in open forum to just mention it right now.
Because if it's an item on our agenda, you can talk about it under that item.
I can't talk about. Well,
just wait until the item.
Yeah.
Just wait until the item.
You should wait until
Oh,
the
then
item.
I'll wait till the item then. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the appropriate way to do that. All right, no problem. If there's no other open forum, public comment.
There's only one.
Okay. Reports?
So reports, we have a report from the executive director.
Good morning. Thank you. A couple of quick items to brief the board on. We have currently exchanged now all of the necessary data for the full 4 years on the Raider parking audit. We have run both sets of data through the attorneys. We have a meeting now set for early August where we will sit down and review all of the assumptions and compare those to the language in the contract with the goal in mind that we're trying to find a way in which we can resolve this to everybody's best benefit. The final number that they are indebtedness to us is $978,000. They have currently paid us $61,000, so we're still at a delta of somewhere around $910,000, $915,000. In the area of capital projects, to bring the board up to speed, the painting of the north and south scoreboards has now been completed. The logos of the teams has now been put up, and the rest of that will be completed with Ricky Henderson Field going up in the next couple of weeks. The window project, the AT&T antenna expansion project, and the chiller projects are all moving along on time and on budget. I do have one item I would like to update the board on that is not on here, that's just come together in the last 24 hours. Mark Bedane and I had a good visit with a gentleman named Paul Danforth. Paul heads a CAA, and we do seem to have a very interesting prospect in the naming rights deal for the Coliseum. I know Paul from my days at the Rose Bowl. He's a very sharp guy. He's got a lot of contacts in the business. They fully understand the uncertainty with the Raiders leaving and the uncertainty of where the A's may go, but they feel like they do have a good naming rights prospect. So Paul and I have a conference call scheduled for Monday afternoon, and I will keep the board updated as that progresses. That's all that I have. Thank you.
And your next item is the general manager's report, item 5B.
No, the report is in the packet. Chris is traveling.
Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments on either report? Okay, next item.
Next item is it's a new business item, request for budget adjustment for fiscal year 16-17.
Good morning, Melissa Will from the Alameda County Audit Agency, representing Steve Manning this morning. The 2016-17 OACC budget did not include any revenue or expenditures or expenses related to the playoffs. The budget therefore needs to be amended to reflect the increased operations expense and the corresponding revenue. An adjustment also needs to be made to increase the budgeted amount for additional capital projects related to the boiler, building board, and scoreboard. Proposed revenue and budget adjustments are $4.1 million for facilities fees, $3.2 for the Coliseum operations related to the playoffs, $880,000 for the capital outlay, and for a total of $4.1 million. Staff recommends that your board approve the budget adjustments listed for the fiscal year 2016-17.
Commissioner Haggerty.
We have some, it's always a basic understand exactly what we bring in. But can I get, what was the capital outlay? 880,000.
Those are related to the increases for the capital projects. Approximately $500,000 was for the boiler, $20,000 for the ribbon board, and about $370,000 for the scoreboard. The original budget was lower than expected, and so this adjustment will then offset those increases related to the capital project.
Okay, so I don't understand. So we already had the scoreboard and we already had the ribbon, we already had all that stuff. So what are we saying? Are we just accelerated payments or what?
I think some actually started work earlier than expected related to the boiler, I believe. that's not completed, but they've started moving forward with that.
That is correct. And Commissioner Haggerty, this is revenues equaling expenses is not the real true picture. The revenues that are being reported here are those that just are required to offset the expenses that you can approve for us to pay for the playoffs. The total revenues actually came in a little over $2 million over the expenses, so the profit to the authority on the playoffs was a little over $2 million, with 9 games this year versus 14 last year.
So what I'm trying to figure out is so then are you saying the facility fees were, okay, so we're bringing in the facility fees, but then are you saying that the concessions and everything else?
That's correct.
So when do we make those budget adjustments? Or do we not?
That we do not. That's just excess
So
of
it just shows profit at the end of the year?
That's correct. It's
I understand that.
moved into the fund.
Any other questions? Any speakers on the side?
No speakers.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Second.
Moved by Reid, second by Dobbins. There are no opposition or abstentions. We'll pass that unanimously. Next item.
Next item is presentation of Forever Oakland initiative for our board director to the executive director. I don't show a report, but I do have quite a few speakers.
All right. So I know at our last meeting, we asked staff to look into the merits of this endeavor by the citizens and fans to see whether or not this warranted JPA consideration, so that if the JPA decides that we want to recommend to the county and or the city to be a part of this effort, we could do so, or we could not. But the point is, we want to kind of get some analysis on the merits of this endeavor. So I know the executive director has been doing some homework, and I know city and county council have done some work on this as well. So let's hear.
Thank you. I will attempt to tell you what we have learned in the month since you gave us this assignment. I think I do need to point out that we've had a most recent issue that we'll discuss in closed session later regarding potential conflict of interest with the Brownstein firm. And for that reason, CJ Chapman is not here today to provide some of the actual legal analysis work that
So
we've
should we go
done.
to closed session first?
I really don't know.
Well,
That's a
if
question.
you have information that we should hear that's relevant to the item, then maybe we should go to closed session first to hear that information, so we can be fully versed when we make our decision as to what to do. I don't want to piecemeal this and then go into closed session and find out something else that may be relevant to the discussion.
I will
You
defer
know that answer. I don't even know because I don't.
Well, yeah, Scott's, I know, briefed Larry and myself.
It's good that you've been briefed.
Well, as the chair and the vice chair.
I
That's
get
what he's
that.
supposed to do. So let me just ask the councils, do you feel we should go to closed session first, or can we go ahead and hear this and then go to closed session?
So my understanding is that the issue that's before you now has to do with a presentation on the, I guess, proposal that's being presented to you about pursuing options around looking at retaining the Raiders. The issue that we intend to discuss with you in closed session is not specific to that point. So while there are tangential issues that may cause CJ to not be present here to speak to that issue, that won't change because he won't be able to speak to you in closed session either. So the issues that are relevant, and it's my understanding you don't have an action on your agenda today. So this is really more an informational presentation for your open session item. So certainly it's your pleasure which order you'd like to take the item, but there's no action item before you today in open session. So whether you hear this now or you hear it later.
Okay. So let's see, I saw Dobbins.
Mr. Chair, my question, but I think the proposal, yes, we're talking kind of philosophically about whether to sue the Raiders or not, but I think the very group that is here has been pushing this particular law firm because of their success they've had against the Raiders. So I think it is actually, I would argue that apropos to what we're.
So that the discussion is not about the law firm that they're proposing. It has nothing to do with the law firm that the fans
about
are
our law
proposing.
firm.
It's not
No.
about that.
No, the discussion will be about the law
Okay,
firm.
so we're not supposed to talk about the issues that are closed session topics of open session. It's not on the
There's
agenda.
confusion.
So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to hear the presentation, and we can discuss those other issues in closed session.
Anybody else have any opinion?
I didn't do it backwards.
She said she'd like to hear the presentation. I think Larry and I have a sense of what we discussed in closed session. We should just go ahead with the presentation, right? Mr. Reid?
Yes.
All right. All right. So let's,
This is not an action item for us to take an action. I mean, I'm not prepared. I mean, I can speak for my colleagues on the council. If this is an action item, then we can hear the discussion, but we will not take any action.
What was my understanding, the directive that I was given was to do some due diligence and research on this entire issue, and bring back what we know informationally to you. With no intention of this actually being an actionable item, but would you take this up as a future action item? And our job is to inform you to the best of our ability what we had learned about the antitrust issues and those associated with it, so that you could make an intelligent decision as to whether you wanted to move forward or not.
I would say that, I was misunderstood. I misunderstood. I actually thought it was an action item. I thought the people here today were looking for something a little bit more. So I was misinformed. So if it's just an informational item, I'm fine listening to the information. I'm fine going into closed session, listening to what you have there. I know how to keep my mouth shut.
so proceed.
Okay. First of all, Forever Oakland. And they have speakers here. There's some things that they will add to some of what I'm going to share with you that we have learned. Forever Oakland is a fan and citizen-driven coalition whose objective is primarily to find a way in which to retain football in the city of Oakland, retain perhaps the naming rights and the colors and the marks and such of the team here for the market. Could that mean expansion? Could that mean keeping the Raiders here currently? Could that mean a relocation? It could possibly be one or all of the above. The group has brought in two attorneys, Jim Quinn and Eric Hochstead, very experienced and capable antitrust lawyers, particularly Jim Quinn. He has had a great experience in dealing with the NFL, was part of the Players Association in the free agency case from the owners back in the 90s. Both have long-standing track records and are very knowledgeable in the area of antitrust, and particularly in dealing with the NFL. The points that we were able to glean from what the lawyers have told us and what we have been able to ascertain in dealing with the folks at Forever Oakland is that the first thing we want to do is we want to find a way in which to have the NFL continue to look favorably on the city of Oakland for football. That could be through an expansion team. That could be through the movement of a team. At one time, there was the discussion of Nashville and Jacksonville and Buffalo as possibilities. It now looks more likely that Nashville and Jacksonville are the two teams that could possibly be looking at another relocation. As you know, when the research is done, this is the 6th largest television market in the country. We have some of the highest disposable income per capita. It's one of the great sponsorship markets, and we have a wonderful facility here, or geography, all of which would put us in a fortuitous position to be looked at favorably by the NFL. One of the cases that Quinn and Hochstead feel is strong in their case is, did the NFL owners actually follow the relocation policy as put in the NFL handbook? As you probably know, there was one no vote. It was 31-1 in the movement. Stephen Ross of the Miami Dolphins voted against it. And Mr. Ross was quoted directly as saying, the reason that I am voting against it is I do not believe that we as owners in the league have fully exercised to the fullest potential trying to keep the team in their home market. In other words, did they really follow as closely as they thought they should have the relocation policy? The other issue is that of the owners having enriched themselves to the tune of about $1.5 billion just in the last 18 months on relocation fees. When St. Louis moves to LA, and San Diego moves to LA, and the Raiders move to Las Vegas, these teams will each have taken in over $50 million in relocation fees. And so the question becomes, was movement allowed to enrich ourselves? Another issue that they have brought up to us that they feel has great viability is, did the Raiders, in fact, honestly make best efforts to be able to work closely in the home market, when in reality there's a lot of evidence that shows that the moment the Los Angeles effort failed, Mark Davis had quickly pivoted to Las Vegas. There wasn't any real efforts in Oakland whatsoever in which to be able to show that he, in fact, was trying to stay in his home market. One of the next things that I think we need to talk about is what is there to gain in all of this for us if we decided to join in this effort. First and foremost is we still owe $83 million on the Coliseum debt. Simply put, the tenant left the building and left us with the mortgage. Hochstead and Quinn seem to feel that, without question, if we can get the NFL to the table on negotiation, that some sort of a settlement or payment to us back on the $83 million is viable. If you recall, when San Diego and Oakland were looking to move, in an effort to try and keep them in the home markets, the league had provided $100 million to each team to be used in an effort to stay here. They've already allocated that money. There's $100 million that's been set aside for San Diego and for Oakland to have stayed in the home market. That in and of itself might speak to the $83 million that we are owed. Then there's the issue of the expansion and the relocation of another team. There's risk and reward. The NFL doesn't listen unless you push and you push hard. It's a billionaire bullies club, and we all know that. They play hardball. So the question becomes, if you really are looking at trying to retain football, do we serve ourselves well by trying to sue them? Or do we serve ourselves better by perhaps trying to take some sort of a lower key settlement type issue with the idea in mind that we would like to have football stay in the market, we'd like to be partners of theirs? I'm not at all suggesting that I have the answer. I'm giving you some thoughts about what you need to be reviewing in your minds as you look at this. Forever Oakland has assured us that the funding for the legal fees will be covered and that there will be no taxpayer exposure to doing this case. But in doing that, I will share with you what Quinn and Hochstead have told us is the timeline and the anticipated cost. It's going to take 1 to 1.5 years to just get the NFL perhaps to a position where they would be willing to sit down and want to negotiate. And that's going to require $2 to $2.5 million of legal fees. If in fact we can't get to a negotiating point where Gruckman and Goodell and various other players sit with us and say, okay, we get your point, we're interested in talking to you about something that works, and they decide that they would like this to go to trial, it's probably a 3-year wait with easily $4 to $5 million in legal fees. That's the essence of what we've been able to learn in talking. I know that the antitrust folks have been trying to get calls with the legal teams at the city and at the county. I have not been on any of those particular calls, so I can't speak to that. You may want to ask them those questions yourself. But that's the essence of kind of the key driving points of where we are today. Forever Oakland's request of us is, They would like us to be a plaintiff in the case in order to get standing to move forward.
Thank you. Yes. Does the city or county attorneys have any input?
So no, typically an initiation of litigation item would be discussed in closed session. So if there's a presentation, we would make that in closed session.
Otis?
Agreed.
Okay. Commissioner Haggerty?
I'm curious as to something you said because I misunderstood something, I think. Are you saying, because I always thought that they wanted the city and the county to put up money for the lawsuit. Are you saying that, did you say Forever Oakland is planning on paying for the lawsuit?
That is correct. That is what I have
With
been
no
told.
taxpayer input?
That's what I've been told, that's correct.
I heard different. I heard that they
Commissioner.
wanted, did at one point, did they want the
Point of
city
order?
to pay?
Yes, they did. There was an original request for funds to come from the city, the county, and the JPA. After having follow-up discussions with, perhaps the folks from Forever Oakland can also clarify, but I'm telling you what I know, what I've been told, is that that has then been changed. They now have, through other sources of funding, this will be picked up entirely by the Forever Oakland organization or parties that will be working with them.
I think the bigger question is who will the law firm require to be on the retention agreements as
On the what? I wish you had a microphone.
Yeah. That's why I was going to point of order.
I was saying, I think the bigger question is who will the law firms require to be on?
She's Donna Ziegler.
I'm Donna Ziegler.
Donna, pull it closer to your voice. Pull it closer. There you go. Pick up the thing. There
I'm
you
Donna
go.
Ziegler, I'm the county counsel. I think the question is what will the law firms require? Who will they require sign the retention agreement and be obligated to make those payments? Because while Forever Oakland may take the position that they'll come up with the money, that will only work if Quinn Emanuel, if the law firms involved, will not require the public entities to be obligated to pay on those legal services.
Point of order Rob, through the chair. Okay. Okay.
This is not a court procedure.
And that's the, that's the question, because my understanding is that they do not intend to do this work on a contingency fee basis. So somebody who has the ability to pay that up to $5 million in legal fees would need to be bound on a legal services agreement.
Thank you.
I know in my conversations too with Forever Oakland, and I think Scott pointed this out, there's the county, the city, the JPA. Does the JPA even have standing to be part of a legal action of this nature?
So those are questions that remain to be answered, because obviously whether you or not you have standing depends on the specificity of the claims that will be brought.
Because I also think we need to take a look at our authority as a JPA. I don't know if the city and the county have delegated that type of authority to the JPA. So that should be part of your analysis as well. All right, how many speakers do we have?
Several. I have 1, 5, 6. 6 speakers
All right,
on this
so
item.
give
Oh,
them-
and there's 7, the other speakers, 7 speakers.
7? Okay. So we'll give the speakers 3 minutes. So call the speakers.
Okay. We have, Councilmember Gallo is the first speaker.
Councilmember Gallo, who's the next speaker?
Next speaker is Ray Perez, Joey.
That's good. All right. Councilmember Gallo.
Thank you.
Since you're a public official, I'll give you a little bit more time if we need it.
Okay.
Or you can take less as well.
Thank you, and I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm here as an elected official as well as a resident, citizen, taxpayer, and also a longtime fan of the Oakland Raiders. I've seen them when they first came to Oakland. They played the first game at Frank U. Field. We used to go fishing there at the Lady College Channel. And we used to sneak and watch the games underneath the fence, watch the Raiders play. So we have a long history. I've seen the Raiders win Super Bowls. I've seen them have challenging years. And I've also seen governmental institutions drop the ball when it comes to professional teams, from the A's, the Warriors, and the Raiders. And certainly, I am in complete support of a citizen-driven initiative, because I was elected to represent citizens and not the institutions and other governmental bodies. So I ask you and I plead with you to recognize, to value, to support the Citizens Initiative. And I truly believe Mr. Davis can stay in Las Vegas all he wants, but Oakland does deserve a professional football team. Does own the image, the colors, the name, and we should be proud of that. We should be able to not shake our hands and stand up to fight for it. And if we would have taken that stand, we would have probably said, maybe have the Warriors still here. So we have an opportunity as elected officials representing the citizens of Oakland, as well as the tax generation opportunities we have, the image that we have, and certainly with the confusion we have here before us. We need to take it to another level, because at the end of the day, it is about my children and my families that are coming up before me that need to celebrate, enjoy, but most of all, have a job opportunity. And certainly, we're not a perfect football team, but at the end of the day, I think that we ought to make every effort legally, spiritually, morally, to be able to fight for what I truly believe belongs in Oakland and needs to stay in Oakland. So with that, I'll do whatever I can to be supportive of your action, but most of all to recognize and appreciate the leadership of our citizens standing before us today. And I support the initiative wholeheartedly and fully, and certainly my neighbors have asked me to show up today to make sure that we make our point very clear. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I want to thank the honorable council member representing District 5 for those remarks to us. I'm sure your colleagues heard it as well. So are you keeping time?
Yes.
Do you have,
We keep
okay,
it,
all right. Okay, who?
You guys get 2 minutes?
3.
3 minutes,
Yeah,
okay. So I
who's
can
next?
try to go to the order they gave me. Grease Jones.
And then after that?
After that, Reid Bobbitt.
Okay, that's good. Let's do 2 at a time.
Good morning to the JPA and to everybody present. We are honored to be here today to present a gift to this community that's long overdue. And the gift is a citizen-driven initiative that pertains to a crime that took place on March 27, 2017 at the NFL owners meeting in Arizona. I was present, Zenny was present, Ray Perez was present, and what Scott McKibben said about the NFL making up its own rules and not going with their own rules, this is the reason why your Forever Oakland, that you guys know very well, that's more than just fans, this greatest culture of people and fans worldwide, know by retaining the 2 antitrust lawyers, the best in the United States, Jim Quinn and Eric Hofstadt, who have much experience dealing with the NFL and being 100% successful. They believe, as well as we believe, that this community deserves the best to retain football here in Oakland, California. We have the greatest fans, we have the greatest public transportation, and the recipe that they're offering us with the citizen-driven initiative that will do what we need to do to protect you guys from public funds is, number 1, help keep football here in Oakland, which we deserve. Number 2, we're going to provide a recipe for you guys to take care of your $83 million bond debt, plus recoup any losses. Number 3, keeping pro sports here on this land, that we believe this land needs Oakland Raider football and that identity, keeps the jobs to all the locals here, keeps people employed, and lastly, we keep a sense of pride of our identity. So regardless of what's happened leading up to this vote, regardless of the past experiences, and I know personally what some of you folks went through during this process leading up to the vote, we have not just renewed hope, but we have the best with the NFL's finest for Oakland, and we're providing something on a silver platter for you guys, the municipalities. It ain't just talk, we are pro-action to make this a win-win for everybody and to show Oakland, California isn't laying down, and regardless of what the reputation's out there. So we're pleading and we're asking. We need our municipalities to go ahead and analyze this. We need our municipalities to really, really look at this deeply, because we're doing the footwork, we're putting things together, and we got the two best guys who've had much success, and they believe and know we're gonna win. So that's why it's important. We're bringing this up to you today. That's why all these people are here today. That's why Forever Oakland, that's been the leading movement for years, went and got the two best antitrust lawyers in the United States, and Jim Quinn and Eric Hostad, to show us something that maybe none of us have seen. And if we all have an open mind, and we all go take faith and go with this fully, and not stand on our laurels, and not stand back because of past things, we guarantee this to be a win-win situation. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time, and let's remain forever open. Have a good day.
Bobby?
And who's after Ray?
Ray Bobby.
And who's after Ray?
After Ray will be Ray Perez.
So thank you very much for allowing me to speak today. My name is Ray Bobbitt. I want to always acknowledge the Oakland Public School System, where I graduated from Webster Elementary School, Frick Junior High School, also the Oakland Park and Recreation Department of Brookfield, Royal Park. My brother is also a graduate of their Soul Concession Series, now captain of the Fremont Police Department. My mother is a deaf administrator at California School for the Deaf. Very connected, lifer, East Bay family, Alameda County family. Wanted to just say that we represent a African-American investment group that is very much interested and has committed to investing in this process. We are clear on what our objectives are. We believe that there's an opportunity for this community, and it's a very simple business mathematical equation from our perspective. We have an opportunity to invest initially in this litigation, and as a result of this litigation, what will occur from this litigation is a few things. First and foremost, there'll be a vehicle to pay off the current debt, which we think is a great investment for what we get in realizing to resolve the debt. Secondly, there'll be an opportunity for us to preserve football here in Oakland. Third, our organization is prepared to work together with some funding entities that have already committed to this process and funding an award to redo completely the Oracle and keep it as the premier entertainment and sports complex in the entire country. Based on its location, we all know I don't have to sell that. That's very important. So we'll be able to do that as a result of that. Equally as important, I got a call from somebody who identified themselves as a Oakland Raider executive, and he asked me, you know, Mr. Bobbitt, what are you doing? You know, why are you doing this? You're barking up a tree that has no fruit. Nothing's going to happen here. You're wasting your time. You're wasting people's time. Nothing's going to happen. If you want to know the real story of why the team left, listen to a 95.7 sports radio interview that Mark Davis did shortly after the relocation vote, in which he talks about the dysfunction of the city council, the dysfunction of the county supervisors, and the dysfunction of the JPA. I told the person on that line that I'm a born and raised Oakland native. I was born here, I was raised here, I was educated here, I was brought up here. I have nothing but respect for our municipalities and the fact that they didn't allow for themselves to be blackmailed and hijacked by the leverage of this bully squad. We support every municipality. We are going to be the entity that is going to help with the funding process for We Stand with Oakland, which is the nonprofit entity that is the contribution and expense-driven vehicle. So we're prepared, and what we will do is we will, if necessary, show the tangible evidence that we need in order to support this process from a financial perspective. This is the perfect public-private partnership. This is what we all talk about in the way of bringing public and private together. We want to do this. We're not asking elected officials to do it. We're doing it ourselves. All we need is the support of our municipal body. Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Ray Perez.
Followed by.
And the next one is Russell Rivera, Joyce Simons.
That's good.
Well, my name is Ray Parrish, and Ray made me have to change my speech now that I heard that talk you had with the executive. 4 years ago, our collective journey began. You guys probably remember me as Dr. Death. I came in my regalia and my passion for our team, and as someone once told me, you don't choose Oakland, Oakland chooses you. And I came here pleading for my passion to keep our team and our community thriving. Then I came as a college student, and now I come to you as a college graduate with my degree in communications, working at a public relations firm here in Oakland. I want to pivot to this alleged dysfunction of the city of Oakland. Over the last 4 years, Oakland has provided 3 developers, 2 plans, 1 proposal submitted. Over the last 4 years, many of my colleagues here have attended dozens of Oakland, JPA, and county council meetings, but not once did I ever see Mark Davis and the Oakland Raiders here. We have allocated several taxpayer funds, such as Measure BB, that was allocated specifically for the Oakland Raiders, and as reported by the Mercury News, Mayor Libby Schaaf made concessions on ancillary development for, as we remember, ingress, egress, and parking. Mark Davis gets 70% less in Vegas. Mark Davis said we all needed to come to the table, but in reality, it was really him. It was because we didn't bend over backwards to raise taxpayer money for a billionaire. We've had, let me put this into perspective for you, in the last 40 years, we've had respectfully council members and mayors and JPA members and county members come and go over the last 40 years. But the only leadership variable that has stayed the same is the Davis family. Eric Grubman of the NFL says, every time I come here, Oakland takes 1 step forward, but 3 steps back, but we haven't seen a dime from the National Football League. Maybe it's the leadership of the National Football League and the Oakland Raiders that is dysfunctional. We have come together on so many different occasions, whether it was investing our hard-earned money for Raider games or coming here at 8:30 in the morning while we have jobs. In under 4 months, a coalition of fans has been able to get dysfunctional politicians on board with a plan that Mr. McKibben was able to read out loud in under 4 months that the Raiders and the National Football League couldn't do in 40 years. What's on the line right now is the future of our generations. 10-year-olds, 15-year-olds, people that are in college that are chasing the dream like I did, that want to work at a PR firm, that want to become an attorney like Mr. Dobbins and invest in Oakland, because we want to get out of the shadows of San Francisco. We've done everything that we could, but it's Mark Davis and the National Football League, and I'm telling you guys right now, we got screwed over. Mr. Miley, we may have had our disagreements, but we have tried and put our passions into this. And instead of really taking this into the court of public opinion, let's prove to the world that we can do the unthinkable. Being 100% privately financed, but we have to get our ducks in a row. We have to get something solidified that people can be held accountable with the financing, and I completely understand that. But let's prove to the world it's not us that's dysfunctional, it's not you. Because this is crap, what the National Football League and what Mark Davis did to us. So I ask, let's make Oakland better. Let's do it the right way and not put $750 million and taxpayers at risk with the city that ranks dead last in education. Let's invest with private money and give a future to our youth. Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Russell Rivera, and followed by Joey Seymour.
All right. And also, I didn't even recognize you in a suit and tie. I was wondering, who is that guy?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Russell Rivera. I'm a business owner, and I do a lot of business here in Oakland and in Alameda County. And I established this nonprofit, We Stand With Oakland, with the purpose, purposefully, to keep Oakland Raider football and professional football in Oakland. So I just want to briefly touch on what we've put together so far. So our coalition is made up of fan groups, local business leaders, and local community leaders, including Forever Oakland, the Black Hole, Save Oakland Sports, the B-Lot Tailgate Group, the Oakland Raiders Booster Club, members of the Knights of the Shield, Stay in Oakland, and then including booster clubs from other clubs such as the New York Giants, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Cleveland Browns, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Oakland A's have lent their support, as well as we are here to represent Oakland Raider fans everywhere. We've, just in the last couple months, grown our followers up over the thousands. We've received donations in triple digits to help fund this process, and our message has reached over 500,000 people. We expect exponential growth of those numbers once football season starts, and our message to reach into the stratosphere. The African American Investment Group, led by Mr. Reid has pledged financially to support our legal and PR campaign through marketing efforts and everything that we need to fully facilitate this. Our organization has also enlisted a national PR firm to organize a series of press conferences and schedule interviews on local and national TV networks. In closing, I'd just like to say our coalition retained Jim Quinn and Eric Hochstadt to empower this board in a modern-day David and Goliath battle. We have cleared the path to make it easy, and we believe that when you make this actionable, you should vote yes and support the community-driven initiative. Thank you for your time.
Joy Simons
All about
and Zany Abraham. It's the last one.
Zany Abraham? I don't know. Gonna allow this.
Good morning, thank you for having me here. I'll be brief, everybody's kind of touched on it, but, you know, we got a bad deal. We took it upon ourselves to do all the legwork in the beginning. We've talked to the lawyers, we've got the legal jargon done, we're getting it funded. You guys aren't gonna have to pay a dime. We're gonna take care of everything. We've done all your work. All we need from you guys right now is just to say yes. Put it to a vote today. That's the last time you're going to see us here. It's the last time you're going to have to hear us every single meeting coming in talking about this. Yes, 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 yes. And we're done. Well, the lawyers will take care of the rest. That's all we need is your support. You don't have to put up any money. You barely have to put in any effort. We've done it with 5 or 6 people, which is less than what the JPA is of 8. We've done all the work. And we've hired the best lawyers. They're 5 for 5. They're already getting ready to put a notch in their belt to go 6 to 6. All we ask is your help. We'll take care of the rest. Thank you.
All right.
Zany Abraham is the next speaker.
All right, so Mr. Zinni.
3 minutes.
Long time.
Get that clock ticking.
For those of you who really don't know me, I'm Zinni Abraham. My current position is executive producer of Zinni 62 Media, but 17 years ago I stood before this body in legal construct as the head of the Oakland Alameda County Sports Commission and the head of the Super Bowl 39 bidding committee. Many of the people who were involved then are here now. For example, Mr. Haggerty, great supervisor now. Nate, you were Oakland Alameda County, you're Oakland council member. That's right. Larry was on the JPA. Scott was publisher of the Tribune. He was on, as well as Councilmember Reid, the committee that we put together and the Sports Commission. We came to within 8 NFL votes of bringing the Super Bowl here. After that time, the NFL made me, and I still am, part of NFL media. But I have freedom, and this is what I have learned. On May 17th, 2015, Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf called me. She wanted to know originally who Carmen Policy was. We talked about that. But I told her that Mark Davis was planning behind our back to move the Raiders to Carson. She didn't believe it. So Mayor Schaaf and I concocted a plan. That happened to be the first day of the NFL Spring League meeting that was here at the Ritz-Carlton in San Francisco. So I went to Mr. Davis and I asked him why he was working behind Mayor Schaaf's back and ours. This is on video. He was shocked. The upshot of it was that he basically admitted as such that they were working in that way, even though he didn't like that I did that. Then, and this is documented, January 28th, 2016, UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas president, Lynn Jessup, issued a communique seen by a few people that said that he was going to meet with Raider officials to seek a new home for the Raiders in the Las Vegas Valley. I say that because at that time, you all were under the impression that Larry McNeil was going to be hired and that a new stadium process and discussions were going to begin. I took my issue directly to NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell at the NFL Spring League meeting in Charlotte, and this is on video, and I asked him why the NFL was allowing Mr. Davis to work essentially off the range, as I put it. Commissioner Goodell said something that I really believe needs to be noted and it needs to be brought up, and this is the reason why we need to go to court. He said, the Raiders are partly to blame for why they don't have a stadium in Oakland. No one in the media I've tried, other than me, has ever followed up to find out what that means. But it's the first time the commissioner essentially went off the range, if you will, and pointed the finger at one of his bosses. I rose to, or tried to, a point of personal privilege to alert that there are organizations like Burford Capital that will finance this legal attack. In the case of Stephen Donziger, who attacked Chevron, they financed his effort, a trial lawyer, who claimed to be a great friend of President Obama to the tune of $20 million. This can be done, and we can win. Thank you.
That's it on the speakers. All right. Thank the speakers for coming, and appreciate Zenny being here as well. So we go back a long ways. I remember Zenny when he worked for Mayor Ellie Harris, and always been someone who's been very sharp on all these issues, and so appreciate your comments on this, Zenny. So let me see what the commissioners had to say.
I just wanted to say that I could answer any questions in regards to process, funding, verification, things like that, that I've talked about. I made myself available for that.
Okay, all right. Yes. Yes.
Have the attorneys already been retained?
Yes, they have.
And who were they retained by specifically?
So the retention agreement is between We Stand with Oakland, which is the nonprofit entity whose mission statement matches the ability to raise funds for a legal process.
And the nature of that arrangement provides for payment made by We Stand with Oakland.
That's correct. Yeah. And through contributions that are tax deductible from private citizens and businesses.
And thank you. That's fine.
Anyone else? Commissioner Haggerty.
I don't have the expertise as three lawyers on this board, I think. But isn't it something as simple as we could just join in as an amicus?
So it's not quite that.
Well, that's why I'm not an attorney.
It is rare that you can join a fight as an amicus.
We do it all the time.
Well, in the trial court. Generally, I mean, there are circumstances when you can join, you can file an amicus brief in the trial court proceeding, but generally, amicus briefs are filed in the appellate courts. So that's been for the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. So, in my understanding, and I don't know because I haven't talked to the attorneys they've retained recently, is there also are issues of standing. What parties need to be parties to the lawsuit to bring the claims that they intend to bring. One of the things that Mr. Bobbitt just said is very curious to me. Generally, a nonprofit could not be formed to fund a lawsuit to retain sports. That would not be a charitable purpose that would support a nonprofit. There are interesting, details on one of the questions that wasn't asked by Ms. Hill, but she was starting in that direction, is what is that retention to do? Is that retention actually to file a lawsuit on behalf of We Stand for Oakland, or is it just preliminary work at this point?
Yes, so I can answer that. And basically what it is it's an exploratory process. The nonprofit organization can raise funds to retain an engagement agreement to explore the process. We initially thought that the citizens, season ticket holders, business owners, could bring the action ourselves. But what we found out is that the important piece of this is that the municipality, either one or all three, actually have a standing. So what was important to us is we had to understand the mechanics of how to fund litigation and invest in litigation. And so that is where the collaboration of the fan groups of Forever Oakland, We Stand with Oakland, connected with our organization, which is, I said, African American Investment Group, that we want to do a public-private partnership collaboration and serve the community of East Oakland in districts 5, 6, and 7. So we want to create an opportunity for jobs here. We want to do a lot of things here. In addition to that, we've spoken directly to Fortress. We've met with Ronnie Lott, we believe would make the first African-American owner or general managing partner of a franchise here in Oakland. We would like to see that happen. We believe that this is that time and this is that moment. But as it relates to, that's the long answer to the short question. The municipality is important from the standpoint of having standing. And so what we can do, and what is perfectly fine, is we can continue to collaborate through businesses, through private citizens, through fans, in a collaborative effort to raise funds to invest in litigation. Now, the mechanics of that would have to be clearly worked out. Right now, we have signed the retention agreement, so we are technically the clients. However, if and when one of these three municipalities would come on board, that municipality would become the client, and we would then just be in a support position.
Since you brought up Ronnie Lott's name, I'm just going to say that after that man dedicated his life to the NFL, I think the NFL screwed him.
And just so you know, we believe the same thing. The truth is that at this moment, at this time, this community got screwed. I mean, the bottom line is that we had shovel-ready 55, we had the 55 acres. We watched Nate and Larry be flanked with Mark Bidet and Mark Davis. And what they did is they lied. And at the end of the day, they tried to leverage us for public funds, and they tried to bully us the same way they're going to do with the parking fees. They have no respect for us as a community. They have no respect for us as a city. We are not alone. St. Louis has filed a lawsuit between their JPA, their county, and their city. The NFL tried to get it thrown out on a summary judgment of motion. It withstood, and they have a trial set for October. Their case is based on violation of 4.3C and 8.5 of the NFL conduct code that they put together that makes them required to follow their own relocation guidelines. What we could win is a reset award where the court would monitor whether they qualify. So there are a lot of different strategies and a lot of just some circumstances that we're learning right now in a current case that's taking place where a county, a city, and a JPA stood up, and their team is already gone, which is different from our situation. So we feel that we're going to approach this thing the same way that Cleveland did. We feel like there's an opportunity for that. We feel like as you go through this process, you see clearly that there was not ever a realistic opportunity to negotiate in good faith. We believe that they can run $1 million in parking fees, and they can say, we're just going to give you 60 grand and you live with it. Because we're dealing with bullies, we're dealing with people who don't respect people, and our position as a community is enough. And not today, not in the city, not at this moment. And if it takes us to put all of our money together to come and take action to prevent this from happening, because we believe that whoever from the JPA decided that they wanted to raise the rent, which is something that Mark Davis has said out loud as one of his primary reasons for moving. We applaud you. We applaud all of our elected officials for not allowing for ourselves to use public funds, because that's exactly what they wanted us to do.
All right. I have a question.
Yes.
So, Scott McKibben said that whoever Oakland's raised the $2.5 million or has guarantees for $2.5 million, because if the city or the county, because once again I'm not sure if the JPA has standing, were to join the antitrust litigation or potential litigation, what guarantees do we have that we wouldn't be considered the deep pocket for securing the payment of the attorney's fees if the Forever Oakland falls short of the $2.5 million, or if it goes, as Scott McKibben pointed out, to trial and it's $4 million or more, because we have an obligation as fiduciaries to the taxpayers, and the taxpayers might not want to see us as elected officials go on the hook for that type of money. So where are you with your fundraising?
So where we are with our fundraising is that we obviously raised the initial retainer. And this has gone through, we stand with Oakland, the nonprofit entity. with Forever Oakland driving the agenda. We were enlisted, our group is a group of African American investment group that is, we all grew up here in East Oakland. And we're all business people, we're all lifers of Alameda County. So what our position is that we're going to back up the We Stand with Oakland, Forever Oakland movement from a financial perspective. We will be in a position to inject the legal fund investment wherever it needs to go, and whether it be held in some sort of legal escrow account or whatever it needs to be, to assure that once this process begins, that there won't be a immediate shortfall of financing to continue with the litigation.
Because I know for a fact my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors are going to want more of a guarantee about that if they were to pursue this. And I'm sure there are going to be members of the city council that are going to want the same. The fans who support this, but there are other people out there that watch government very carefully about how are we expending our resources. So I hear what you're saying, but I think ultimately if we decide to go down the road, then we will need to have some proof and some guarantees that that's going to indeed be the case.
But just like if we were to go out and purchase a property and they needed verification of income or they needed verification of a down payment, it could be put in some sort of escrow account. It could be put somewhere where there's a clear allocation, because this is not windfall, it's not speculation. This is something that we will do. And actually our ability to do that makes this process continue. So we're prepared to do that, and we're prepared to also utilize the excellent skills that we have on this board. You know, between yourself and Nate, and you know, with Ignacio coming back on the board, and Scott Haggerty being here, and Scott McKibben with his negotiating skills, we believe that we're in a very, very good position.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments? All right, Chris, you want to say one last thing?
I would move that we adjourn in closed session, Mr. Chair.
I just want to add real quickly, two things. Right now, we are currently working with the Oakland A's. They're supporting us with this process. That's a real thing that's going on now. Number two, something that I just want to remind you folks, and you guys might have heard this, UNLV hired on a sports attorneys from New York right now to represent them with this skating deal with the Raiders because they're having a bump with the Raiders. So we just have to make sure, I don't know if you guys are aware of that, that's a reality that's going on. Anyway, thank you very much, and
so we're going to
please push us forward. Thank you.
Well, that's it, folks. There was no decision, okay? But stay tuned. So we'll be back. And subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube, and also friend me here on Facebook. See ya.
Vote yes.
Hold on a second. 1 second. Hey, how you doing, man? Good. 1 second. Hey, thank you. Hold on a second. Hey, Ray, can I get your thoughts? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't see how you can say no to that.
Yeah.
I mean, if the community is going to raise the money, businesses, fan groups, I don't know how you can say no to that.
Hey, council member. 1 second. What do you guys think? What do you think, Chris?
So
what do you think?
we're very confident about the whole thing. There's no speculation. We're providing this municipality. This will be the first time in history that a citizen-driven initiative is providing something to a municipality to solve everyone's problems, being led by the NFL's leading movement and being led by the top 2 antitrust lawyers in the United States. We feel very positive. There is no reason whatsoever why this body of people shouldn't push this forward and the further steps over the next 30 to 60 days with the city and county. So we're very excited about this, and we're going to continue to push this opportunity. What do you think, Zen?
I think I want to get the council member and the guy over first. Hey, council member, can we get your thoughts real quick?
Sure.
Thank you. What do you think about today's meeting?
You know what? I am really grateful to the citizens of Oakland producing, writing, pushing the initiative to keep professional football here in Oakland. I truly believe it belongs in Oakland, As a taxpayer, as a citizen, as a resident, as an elected official, I will do whatever I can to make sure that the young people coming up in Oakland have an opportunity to work, celebrate Oakland, and I, you know, not to be creative, but I can clearly see out of this meeting that within our elected body we dropped the ball. And we don't fight like we should for the city of Oakland.
I was going to ask you that off
You know,
camera,
we
but you
make
said
excuses,
it. Yeah.
you know,
Right.
we get confusion.
Can I get a high five on that?
Yeah. But whether you're an attorney or
Yeah.
you're an accountant or you're an elected official, you got to stand up for what's best for Oakland. And I think that's why we lost the war. I can see why we lost the Warriors. Lost the A's, but, you know, went to court and kept them.
Met, so we need to talk a lot.
Yeah, so I think
There's a
that,
lot
you
we
know,
need to talk about.
I value a citizens-driven initiative, and I think we'll get there.
Thanks, man.
All right, man. Thank you. Thank you, brother.
So like I said, we'll be back, folks. Stay tuned. Stick around. Thanks.